What's up guys, it's BD here, and this is the wireless mouse that we asked Logitech and Zowie to make for years now, except they're the ones to inevitably do it. Instead, Fnatic has stepped up to the plate, they've grabbed the bull by the horns, and they decided to make it for us in the form of this mouse, the Bolt. All right, so right now we have a lot of good ambidextrous, safe shaped mice out right now. But what about the rest of us that like a nice dump truck? You feel me? Fnatic has been making a lot of good products lately, actually surprisingly good at that, which are well researched to give the people exactly what they asked for. So I was curious to see, is this a good mouse or can it break through and become a top contender in the space? Let's talk about it. So in the box, you get the mouse, which comes in white or black. You'll get the receiver with a dongle and a cable, which is USB-C with prongs to keep the cable in place, just like on the Logitech mice. This cable is actually fluid enough, so if you want to use it while you're charging, it actually is really nice to use. They also give you another set of mouse feet in the box as well. The default ones are 0.8 millimeters thick, and the extra ones are 1 millimeter thick. In use, I found the 1 millimeter is superior to the 0.8 when it comes to glide. More on the mouse feet later. So let's talk about the build quality a little bit. Now this is a pre-production version, so there will be some differences between this and the retail version. Some of the issues that I actually had were actually fixed already on the retail version, so keep that in mind. Now there is some side flex here, but the side buttons don't actuate, which is nice. They put a little plastic reinforcement inside the mouse that keeps that from happening. The shell of the mouse has these little gaps that collect dirt. It's going to be more apparent on the white version, of course. Now I left the dirt on the mouse just so you guys can see firsthand. There's also another big gap near the front of the scroll wheel, which allows a lot of dust and stuff to get into the mouse, which I don't like. I wish it was just a little bit tighter on the execution there. But overall, this is a solidly built mouse. Now the coating is slightly rough in texture. It doesn't absorb heat or sweat, so your sweat sits outside of the mouse and it can feel a little bit slippery at times. I much prefer the Zowie and G Pro Superlights coating because as your hand gets warm, you start gaming a little bit, the mice just seem to stick to your hand. Now, of course, if you have drier hands, this is just not even going to be an issue for you. The weight of the mouse is coming in at 68 grams for the black version and 69 for the white. The battery is connected near the back of the mouse, near the hump, and that is where you feel a lot of the weight. This imbalance though makes it feel a lot heavier than it actually is. They did manage to make this a completely unibody mouse except for on the bottom side. If you look underneath the bottom of the mouse, not only will you see the wireless switch, but if you peel back the sticker on the bottom, you'll see where they cut out some of the plastics to lower the weight. Overall, I've been loving the build quality of this mouse. I've been using this mouse non-stop since I got it, and it doesn't feel any different than the day I got it, outside of just dirt in different places, which is just cosmetic. Oh, and before we go on, I forgot to mention, one of the best parts of this mouse is it's only $80, which is up there with like glorious when it comes to the price point, which is almost half of that new pink Logitech mouse. Dang, you can get 2 for 1. Logitech, you gotta lower those prices, baby. All right, so let's talk buttons. The mouse wanted to RKL GM 8.0 switches, but you can't just read that and be done. You have to see how they are implemented. The shell can make a huge difference in making each mouse feel different. And I say this implementation is good. It's not the best. They feel a little bit slow and the bottom out comes a little bit fast for my taste, meaning I need more cushion for the pushing here. I think Final Mouse and Logitech have really spoiled me when it comes to their buttons. The Mouse 1-2 has some slight subtle grooves on it, nothing too crazy like a Zeiss rail or anything like that. And I also like that they're cut off from the main shell, unlike the Zowie mice. Now the side buttons are pretty tough to press and they aren't that crispy. I do, however, love the size of them, and they are easy to reach. The DPI button is easy to press. The scroll wheel strikes a nice balance between the nightmare-inducing Zowie scroll wheel with hard stops that you can only use for gaming. You can't scroll the internet with that thing. And the light scroll wheel that the Logitech provides. It's like an exact mix of the two, and I really like the tactility of this scroll wheel. You can also press down on the scroll wheel and it feels nice and tactile as well. Let's drop that sound test so you guys can hear what these buttons sound like. Now comes the most important part of any mouse, the shape. So if you couldn't tell by now, this is going to be an amazing claw grip mouse because of that hump in the back. Size wise, it sits below the S2 and the G Pro Superlight. I consider this a true medium mouse. My hands are 19 by 8.5 centimeters and it fits in my hand amazing. It's very similar to the S2. I'd go as far as to say as it's pretty much an S3 with a slightly flared out front, which makes it a bit wider there. And the front sits a little bit lower than the G Pro and the S2 as well. The low end front actually adds to the control you feel with this mouse and gives that same effect like the in-game XM1 does. The hump doesn't feel as comfortable as the S2 or even the Razer Viper Mini, because I know people are already going to ask about that, but I do find it more comfortable than the G Pro wireless, especially if you're going to be doing a claw grip. You can fingertip this mouse quite easily. The hump isn't so big that it will touch the back of your palm, and as with all hump mice, it will keep you from getting a fully flat palm grip, but it can work if you're going for like a relaxed claw palm grip look. Overall, like I said, they did their research. They combined a lot of different elements from different mice and came up with this one, and I think it works out. Now, this features 110 hours of battery life with the RGB off. I assume it won't be much less than that since the RGB is only on the scroll wheel and not all over on the sides, flanking the sides, on the bottom, in the cage, like the Glorious Mice or anything like that. So it's very subtle here. So I'm assuming you're going to get maybe, let's say 20 hours less. So still, that's really good, 90 hours. The switch on the bottom also allows you to switch this into Bluetooth mode if you want to get double the battery life, but the delay will be huge and is not recommended for gaming. Overall, the wireless has been nothing but solid here, nothing to report. Although I will say I put some hours in on this mouse over the past 2 weeks and it's still going strong on the first charge. So the sensor is a 3370 sensor, tracks very well and is very accurate. Sadly, I couldn't get the beta software to work on my computer, but it will allow you to change the DPI steps, the button assignments, the RGB, and the lift-off distance, which can go from a 1mm to a 2mm. But for me, I use 800 DPI. I like 2mm lift-off distance, so that's what I have it at. The Bolt does have onboard memory, so you can just delete the software if you don't want it on your computer after you've changed all your settings, or if you want to take this to another computer, it'll be plug and play with your settings that you already had from your previous computer. Now, my computer can be pretty finicky. I have an AMD system, but luckily I don't need to change anything like I said, so I just left the mouse as is. So in everyday use, I recently actually switched back to claw grip from fingertip grip, where I have my palm sitting on the back of the mouse and my wrist is off the mouse pad. As a matter of fact, if you guys want to see a more in-depth video on that, drop a comment down below, and also subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, or if you're just enjoying this video. The low front end combined with that nice butt gives amazing control, and it feels different enough from other mice that I can give this a recommendation for claw grip users to try. It's not going to be a rehashed S2 or S3 or whatever, S1 or whatever. It's slightly different than those, and it can actually give you a little bit more control than those, given the right circumstances. And if you're a person that likes these lower end, low profile mice, it could be a lot better for you. Now, I'm happy to see this new shape and new design out on the market. We need more of this. Like I say, you could tell that they were looking at what people were using and aimed to create a new take on a claw grip shape. The mouse feet for me were a downside. I just wish they were a little bit bigger because of the shape and size of them. Does feel a little bit odd on my mouse pad, and the button implementation could be a little bit better. It's not the perfect mouse for me, but I definitely do think it deserves a test, especially if you're a claw grip user. Now, when we talk about the upper echelon of mice, I feel like it just needs just a little bit more to make it feel like it deserves to be up there with those mice. Also, I wish it was at the 60-gram weight mark. That would have put this mouse over the top for me. I don't know if that was a design choice for them to go for the 67 or 68, but I think the perfect weight for any mice or any person should be around 60 grams. Now, I don't want to discount this mouse because shape is king after all, and this is a shape that's going to be worth it for a lot of claw grip users out there who are waiting on Zowie or Logitech to make a shape like this. The wireless and performance are also really solid and is as good as anything that I've tried. And the price point is really nice at that $80, and it's available on Amazon. So while it isn't perfect, it's got a lot to offer the right people. If this is the start of Fnatic's lightweight mice line, I can't wait to see more, and I know they'll be looking to see what they can improve on from here following the release of this Bolt. All right, guys, it has been your boy BT. Don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.
Like so. Yeah. Fnatic. Just walk with us. Conscious. Talk